Hello, my name's Claire from Conscious Chemo, and I'm going to share my top tips for what to take to your chemotherapy infusions. I was in for 9 hours on my first 2 rounds, and then 7 hours for the next 3 or 4 rounds, and then about 4 hours, so quite a long time. Even if your rounds are shorter, I think a lot are about an hour, that you still might have to wait a long time, so you might want to take something to read while you're waiting. But if you're for the long haul like me, some tips I would say, I took a blanket to get nice and cozy. Might depend on the time of year, but that was quite nice. And even some slippers if that makes you feel comfortable. So anything that makes you feel comfortable. Reading material. I tell you what, I did a playlist of all the songs that brought back good memories or made me feel good, and that was really great. So I would do different things throughout the day to pass the time. It was during COVID, so I didn't have anybody there, so these things were great. And I took if you are going to take anything to eat, I would take obviously fruit and raw veg. Sometimes I would be liquid fasting. I'd make myself vegetable juices and take those. I had lots of ginger and I had lots of turmeric leading up to and during and for the few days afterwards. And I wasn't ever sick. I didn't ever really feel sick. Just the thought of green soups actually made me feel sick. I don't know why, for a time, or orange soups, but just for a period. But I didn't feel sick, and I didn't take the anti-sickness tablets that they give you, and I didn't have any of the diarrhea or constipation medication either. So I think a lot of that was down to my diet, down to liquid fasting, or just eating fruit and veg around the time of the chemo. It has been statistically proven that just having water, or scientifically proven that just drinking water the day before and the day after your chemo can give you fewer side effects, and B, increase the effectiveness of the chemotherapy. So that's a little tip there. But yeah, so healthy foods, healthy drinks, filtered water, and anything that makes you feel good, makes you feel comfortable. And then any podcast. So I did a little meditation before and after my chemotherapy, which I will share. And then during the chemotherapy itself, I just naturally would, first of all, visualise love hearts coming out of my boobs. So wherever your cancer is, just visualise love hearts. That's what I did. And then I'd visualise the treatment being really effective and just letting go of and clearing out all of the damaged cells. And then I would protect the good cells. So I'd call in protection. I would just fill my body with light visually. I'd just visualise healing light coming into my body. I'd also just be thankful, just come into a state of thankfulness and gratitude for being able to receive the treatment, for being lucky enough to be in a westernized civilization where we are offered it, and just sent a lot of trust to my body for being able to tolerate it and receive it, and to take from it what it needed to heal. And it seems to have worked. I mean, it's certainly not going to do any harm. I mean, it's bringing positivity into the mindset. The mind and the body are inextricably linked. I've experienced that firsthand on numerous occasions. So anything you can bring into your mind that will help the body and vice versa is going to help you leaps and bounds. So that's why affirmations are so powerful. So I'd repeat in my mind's eye, just I am cancer free. My body is, I'm well in this moment. My body knows how to heal itself, and it does. Our bodies are amazing; they can come back from anything. And so a lot of alternative books will say that the body can come back from anything, hence do it all naturally. But for me, I decided to take both the integrative approach, on the premise that my body can come back from the side effects of the chemo. And actually I've done an awful lot to reduce those side effects as well. So I did have a colonic hydrotherapy the day after every round of my chemo, much to my sister-in-law's entertainment. She called me during my first round of chemo, and when I told her I was having colonic in the morning, she went, Claire, don't tell me that you're going to have 9 hours of chemotherapy and immunotherapy put into your system and then pay somebody to take it out the next day. But of course, when you're having your bowel cleansed, anything in your bowel is waiting for elimination. So I have been assured by numerous different experts that it isn't taking any of the effectiveness of the chemo away, but it is taking the toxicity away at a higher rate. So it's, the idea is with all the nutrition, so juicing, intermittent fasting, eating loads of fruit and veg, supporting your body as much as you can. It's about trying to take as much load off of the liver as you can, because it's going to have a hard hit processing the toxicity of the medication. So I was all about taking the medication I needed for the cancer, but not trying to avoid any side effect medications, because that's going to give the liver more to tolerate. And also, all medication is broken down in the gut and it all has side effects. So I wanted to reduce the extra medication that wasn't needed for the cancer, and I did manage to do that. So there's some top tips for what to take and to do during the infusions, and make friends with the nurses. They're, most of them are amazing. I'd always, that the transfer of energy that you have can make a difference in your experience. If you go in feeling negative, that's going to come across, whereas if you go in positive, smiley, that comes back to you. So it's that cycle of giving and receiving. And they were brilliant. And when it is your first round, for the best will in the world, I was apprehensive. Of course I was. And I literally remember going home waiting to see what was going to happen because of everything I'd read. And I didn't turn into a frog. And in fact, the next day I was in the sea first thing in the morning, fine. So just take one day as it comes. And for me, I did have days where I did feel very tired. So I would still get up and do my little sea dip in the morning, because that really lifted me and made me feel fantastic. I kept that routine, and then I'd go and have a rest when I came back if I felt like I needed it. So that's another tip, would be to try and keep as much of a routine as you can. So I know a couple of my friends that have gone through chemotherapy or radiotherapy, and they've had horses. So just getting up in the morning and continuing to go down, even if they're not energetically mucking out as much, just keeping that routine. And getting up in the mornings, just the body clock's still there, and then going back if you need to later on. I found that really helpful. I stopped doing that after my high dose, actually. I just naturally decided if I wanted a lie-in, I'd have a lie-in. But I think trying to keep a body clock rhythm during your high dose chemo is very helpful, especially if you are taking the steroids that they give you to do at home, because that really does affect your body clock and sleep. So I took a couple after my first round because I just thought I should, and then I didn't afterwards, and I definitely slept better. So I actually felt that was much better for me and more healing for me than taking the steroids. So that's a little tip if you decide to try that too. It's completely your call. I'm not saying that, I'm not recommending it. I'm just sharing what I did and how that was for me. So yeah, and there wasn't many days I couldn't go out for a walk. I went out for a walk most days as well, or I did a yoga practice. So, and I kept up a yoga practice throughout, but sometimes it would be a meditation or it would be a yoga nidra. Other days it would be a full primary series. Not that often during my high dose, but I just went with how I felt at the time. So again, I didn't put any pressure on myself that I had to do any one thing. And I think that's really key. Anything that creates stress is dysfunctional and is unhelpful. So whatever you do, take the path of least resistance, and do the thing that's going to make you feel the least stressed. So I hope you found these tips helpful. If you're wondering where I am, this is Buttermere Lake in the Lake District in Cumbria behind me. It's absolutely beautiful. I drove up from Brighton in between my 14th and 15th rounds of treatment. And there was a few little nerves in the background, but I knew the deeper part of me was yearning to come up and get some inspiration, and I'm going to be going swimming in the lake shortly. It's absolutely glorious up here, and magic. It really is magic, and this is what I want to share. You can have so many magical moments whilst you are going through treatment for cancer. I certainly have, and I just hope that this inspires others. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. I hope it has helped in some way. And as always, sending you loads of love and well wishes.